what are the skills you need in order to get a job or perform a job like that? You have to be conditioned to doing things that are meaningless. You have to be conditioned to not question what's the meaning of this. And I think that is one of the skills you learn at universities today, is performing meaningless tasks in meaningless institutions.
I'm Paul, founder of Manifesto. MMA is our weekly intellectual deep dive, and this video is recorded live during one of our community meetings. If you enjoy it, then please make sure you subscribe here and check out our website if you'd like to join in the discussion on one of our community meetings, which are held every Wednesday.
Welcome. And yeah, maybe we can just start with, could you tell us a little bit of the background to the last couple of months or couple of years or so?
Yeah. So to put it like the thing you tried to formulate diplomatically, the very short version is that I was kicked out because I think Corona is bullshit, basically. So, and it's something that's, it happened pretty fast, really, but at the same time, it's something that I knew was coming. I mean, for 2 years, I've known it would come to this point where I would have to say no. So, and kind of my red line in the sand was when I had to, they imposed these, that you had to show the Corona pass to get into campus. And my course would start the 31st of January. And then 2 weeks before that, I wrote my students and I wrote my boss and said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate in that. I'm not going to force or even pressure anyone to have to show that. And then I gave a number of reasons for that. One of them had to do with sovereignty. I want to be a sovereign person. I want to decide over my own body and so forth. And therefore, of course, I'm not going to do something that violates other people's sovereignty. So that was one thing. The other thing is that I think these vaccines, I think they're not even vaccines, but whatever they are fishy. We don't know what's in them and they're harmful and all that. So that's another reason. And then I also said, like, for the last, I don't know for how long, like my school has been all about diversity, this, diversity, that, diversity. And to me, it's like up to here with diversity because it's a false form of diversity. Like, you know the song. And then I feel this thing with Corona, that's true diversity. That's like, okay, some people want to do this, other people want to do that. We should be able, both should be welcome, both should be equal. But now in this case, diversity doesn't count. And then there was also a question of legality. I think and this is also coming out now. We are learning that many of the things that have been going on for the last 2 years, they're actually illegal. And I think, I'm pretty sure, I think this is also already playing out, that there's going to be like I don't know what you call it, like a legal afterplay. I don't know if that's the right, but like now, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of legal issues that's coming out now or that's being resolved now. And even though, I mean, I'm pretty low down in the hierarchy, in principle, I think I could be in a position where I would be liable if one of my students had felt pressured to take the jab, for instance, and then she ends up infertile or has cancer or any of the other side effects that are now coming up. Who would be liable for that? In a sense, I would be, because I was participating in pressuring her into taking it. So that was another issue. And then we had another one. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so that's kind of, I said that, and then they kind of reacted quite sort of, and then I was kicked out. And I knew that was going to happen. So in a sense, yeah, I think things kind of played out the way they should play out in a way. But I think my whole sort of take on this Corona thing is that I feel that Corona has been, it's functioned as a magnifier, in that it's sort of all the little things that were wrong in all of the systems and and also in our personal lives, everything that wasn't sort of completely in line with our true nature and all that kind of stuff, was with Corona. It was all of those small things, or they're not small things, but they look small. They've become magnified. So now, which is also why I've experienced this time as an amazing time for growth. It's like the universe kind of is helping you grow in this period. So I think the trick is that you go along with that invitation for growth rather than push against it. And so I also, what I've experienced in the university for the last 2 years is that I think one of the problems in university is, or in the academic world, is that we don't really believe in the theories that we teach. They're just words. It's just a game. And that's become very clear to me during this Corona. Like the big, I hate the guy, but like the big hero in my, by far in my department is Foucault, Michel Foucault. I'm sure you all heard of this guy. And to me, how is it possible to be into Foucault? Like they talk about Foucault all the time. I'm fed up with Foucault. I was fed up Foucault 15 years ago. So anyway, but how is it possible that you're into Foucault and then the state is pushing tests and injections and masks onto you, and you think, oh, that's perfectly normal? How is that even possible? I don't understand that. I don't understand how anyone can reconcile those two things, like biopower and all that, what he's been talking about, and then this thing. And I could go on. Another one, Agamben, which I like. I actually like Agamben. I think he's brilliant. How is it possible that for the last 2 years we've been in a state of emergency, and you're into Agamben, and you think, oh yeah, that's what's going on? That's just fine. That's normal. How is that possible? I don't understand that. And just to go on, like my department is also, we like to think, or what used to be my department is likes to think of, we always talk about, oh, we're so critical. Oh, we're critical. And now when this thing happens, we're just like, okay, yes, put on a mask, put all the, yeah. How is that possible? Or even, I could go on. I'm just going to give one more example. Also, like this, in a lot of the things that is going on at the department is like this critique of capitalism this, capitalism that. And then we have these major pharmaceutical companies who are then pushing these drugs onto us. And we're just like, oh yeah, bring it on. Yes, we trust you. Of course, you're doing this for. I don't understand that. I really don't understand how it's possible for people to reconcile these things. But it comes back to the fundamental problem is that universities or academic life or academic work in universities, it's become a game. It's just a game. It's a game. So therefore, it's when reality doesn't really sort of, when there's this, I don't know, like reality sort of cuts into these theories, or it doesn't matter because it's just, we just play along. So and to me, so I was kicked out obviously for these reasons, but at the same time, I think there was also something, I think the universe wanted me to be somewhere else. I think that was also going on because I can't be in that. I can't, to me, philosophy and economics, it's never been a game to me. It's not a game to me. It can be fun, don't get me wrong, but it means something to me. It actually, whatever analysis you do, or whatever words you use, or whatever you teach to the students, or it's not a game to me. So I can't, to me, I couldn't be in that space where, this hypocrisy, this like, we have these theories and then, So, I guess that's kind of my, Ask me another question, Owen.
No, brilliant. I mean, maybe it'll be interesting to think a little bit more about the way that it's become a game. Because, I mean, as you kind of touched on, it doesn't have to be a game. Philosophy, inquiring deeply into the nature of reality, trying to teach it, trying to create communities of understanding. Actually, I suppose what a university actually means in the word is creating a kind of whole out of separate parts, is an old occupation, probably one of the oldest occupations. And I'm guessing it hasn't always been this way forever, but at some point there's been some kind of subtle shift towards, as you said, this game where it seems like we've got a whole, perhaps even generation of academics who are invested in teaching these ideas. But like you said, the moment anything actually happens, it's the incentive is almost just to ally with the power that's happening, and to preserve your position, and to kind of, and not even to see there being a distinction. Probably there's, we can still keep teaching Agamben and Foucault and supporting this massive top-down bureaucratic regulation of public life. And I'm just wondering, like, what happened historically? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Like the standard explanation inside the system is neoliberalism. That's kind of what the answer you would get if you were to ask, like, and I've never really, I think it was that explanation, it doesn't explain anything to me. That kind of doesn't work with me. So one thing that I've sensed, or I sense, is that there's no spirit. There's a spirit. I think there has been a spirit there at some point, but it's been lost. So that's the one thing. That's kind of also what turns things into a game, is that if there's no higher purpose, or if we're not striving for anything higher than the practice itself, then it's just a game. So there's something about that there's a spirit which has been lost. I think also the system, the university, has lost. It doesn't really know what it wants. It doesn't know its own purpose. One of the things that I was for all the time that I've been at the CBS, it seems that there's been this perpetual discussion about strategy, both on the department level, but also on like the university level. Strategy, then we need to have a new strategy, and then we come up with a new strategy, and then it's kind of implemented, and then people forget about it, and then at some point there's, we need a new strategy. Yeah, okay, let's do. And then and it just goes on and on and on. And to me, that's a symptom of you don't know. It's because you don't know where you're going. So you're constantly asking this question. We need to come up with a strategy. Like, to me, if there was a spirit at the university, it would be very simple. What's the strategy? Yeah, find the truth. That's the strategy. And we don't have to. We can just. And that strategy, we can have that for 500 years. We don't have to renew it every 3 years or every 5 years. It's that simple. But the problem is, we don't believe in the truth. Like, at the university, we don't believe in truth, which is another reason why they've been able to pull this Corona bullshit on us, is because we don't care about the truth. We don't believe in it anyway. So you can just, we don't have any, when they push these things out, we don't have anything to push against them, because we already sort of, undermined or deconstructed truth. So a thing I notice, like in these times that we live, I hear a lot of people who are very dissatisfied or tired or with their job, with their work. And I think that's actually a sign of health, because a lot of work today is meaningless. And I think that's why people are dissatisfied with it, because they can sense that the whole system or their heart can kind of sense there's no meaning to this. So I think we're in this sort of crisis of meaning, and that plays out on the individual level, but it also plays out on the institutional level. Our institutions, they don't even know what their purpose is. The university doesn't know what its purpose is. The hospitals, they also don't know what their purpose is. And the schools and the media and all of them, we're kind of in this, crisis of meaning. So, so my answer to your question, what has happened? The institutions, they've kind of lost their way somehow. I don't know if that's even an answer, or more like just a diagnosis. But yeah.
No, I mean that kind of connects with my way of thinking about it too. I also find myself, like, I've been reading recently a bunch of blogs by this guy Ray Dalio, an American billionaire investor type. And one of the things he discusses is basically how the world looked at him as a guy growing up in the 1960s, where he's an American. It's very much the kind of boom of the American dream. And the thinking is you work hard, you go to university, you get your degree, and then you get a good job, and you're going to be in the middle class. And that's what works for 80% of people or something. And obviously not everywhere is America, but I think there probably has been a degree to which the 20th century model of university was produce great people to go and do jobs well, which is a function in a society. But it also, one of the things it relies on is having a degree of predictability about what sort of jobs there are going to be and what sort of skills are needed people are going to need to go into them. There's a kind of degree of static predictability, whereas at the moment we seem to have gone through the eye of the needle with information technology, with artificial intelligence. It's kind of questionable what exactly many university courses are preparing people for, especially when you can actually get high quality information online. It's like, Mike, here, you were telling us the other week, you basically landed yourself a job in crypto from just studying crypto on YouTube for a few months.
So I think one of the differences between the 60s and today is that the jobs, there's one thing, I think one difference, and I think you also touched upon that in the session with the Cadell. Like, now getting a university degree is not a guarantee that you'll get this job, this middle class job afterwards. So that's not, but even when there is this connection that you take this degree and then you get this job, or this degree qualifies you to get the job, what if many of the jobs that are out there today that needs to be filled are meaningless? They're meaningless, and the institutions or the corporations within which they take place are meaningless, or they don't create anything. What are the skills you need in order to get a job or perform a job like that? You have to be conditioned to doing things that are meaningless. You have to be conditioned to not question what's the meaning of this. And I think that is one of the skills you learn at universities today, is performing meaningless tasks in meaningless institutions. So that's kind of, So I think that is a skill that universities provide young people with today. And so the more meaningless the jobs out there are, the stronger the demand for this skill of being able to sustain meaninglessness. So I think that's take something like finance, right? Or banking. Banking used to be, or a large part of banking used to be, well, the job here is to provide credit for productive enterprise that create jobs and create products that people need. It used to be like that. Now we know it's not like that anymore. Now it's just like playing this game in this system, which is at best have no relation to productive activities, and at worst is destroying productive activities. That's, I mean, in order to be in that system, it really takes a lot of conditioning of your brain to, yeah, no, don't ask for meaning here. Don't. Yeah.
It's interesting. That reminds me of something I think I read in Peter Thiel's book on entrepreneurship, where he's talking about the kind of jobs that are considered the top tier jobs today relative to, say, 30 years ago. And what he kind of says is that today it's, as he said, finance and management consulting.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, 30 years ago, where it would have been engineering jobs, a lot of the top jobs. And there's something about finance and management consulting that it's both kind of solving problems for other people, but there's no actual direction to it yourself. And especially now that the finance system has just turned more and more into this speculative game that's just betting on bets on bets and bets and bets, rather than going into production, because the production's all fucking happening elsewhere anyway in other countries. And then the consultants are just going to other companies to basically say, well, let's help you do your strategies better. But the whole thing is empty in a sense.
Yeah. And it's not just management consulting, it's a lot of the public sector as well. Also bullshit. I mean, and again, we're seeing that with Corona. We're seeing, like, you're supposed to create, I don't know if I have to, but it's just the, I will say this. I mean, you can hear I'm skeptical about this Corona thing. I think that's out there already. So for someone like me to look at what's been going on for 2 years has been like, what? And also, why is no one saying no? Like a year and a half ago, when they started, they put up tents on campus at I cried when I saw that. They put up tents. And of course, if you're inside the thing, you think, oh yeah, but it's for the test for that thing. But if you're where I am, I'm like, what is going on? And also I'm asking myself, why is no one in power questioning this? Why is no one questioning this? And it's because, well, one of the reasons is exactly because they've had this training of just going along with the system, not asking for meaning, not asking for any, just sort of going along with the system. So again, I think also Corona is magnifying and showing us like the real consequence of this thing that's been going on in education, not only in education but also elsewhere for a long time. We've stopped asking about the higher meaning of things or the truth of things, or
So where are you going next now you're out?
Where am I going? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. And it's I think that right now, some people think, oh, now we're back to normal. Now the restrictions are gone and we're back to normal and we'll just go on with our lives. To me, it's like, no. It's only just started now. So I think we're going to see some major shifts in the world, in society, in our personal lives as well, that are going to move very quickly over the next months. I'm not even saying years here, but months. So, and so rather than me sort of planning into this uncertain future, because I don't think, to me at least, that doesn't make sense, because I can see all the systems are going to break down, like the banking system. We're already seeing, I mean, this hyperinflation now. We're just not talking about it, but it's there. And we're seeing governments reaching into people's bank accounts. We've seen that in Canada. There's all these things going on. So I think we're going to see some major shifts. And so what I'm trying to, or what I'm doing is that there's this guy, his name is Jan Jakob Stam. He works with something called systemic constellations, which is also something I'm working with. Yeah, you were on the session, Owen, once with that. It's also called family constellations, but in a more general sense, it's called systemic constellations. I'm not necessarily going to go into that, but he has this concept. He distinguishes between two forms of future. He talks about the planned future and the emerging future. So the planned future is exactly where you're going to go next. What's your 5-year plan? What's your 2-year plan? What's your goals? What your KPIs? All that kind of stuff. So that's kind of moving. That's me sort of moving into the future. But the emerging future is coming towards me, like a train that's kind of like coming towards me. And I think what we're seeing right now, and it's something that I have to be more receptive to. I just have to be more receptive to it. And I have to be resilient when it comes, and I have to be ready, but ready for something that I don't necessarily know what is. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm getting myself ready for something that I don't know what is. And I think right now, the emerging future is moving 10 times faster than the planned future. Which is also, I think, why at least myself and also many people I talk to, they have this sense that right now time is moving very, very fast. So I have this sense that when I think about something that happened 2 weeks ago, it feels like it's 6 months ago. And that's because time is moving so, like I may be moving like at the normal pace, but the future is kind of moving so quickly against me. So there's like time is speeding up in a way. Anyway, so yeah. So in a way, I'm just waiting for the world to come to me. Is what I'm gonna do. And it's also like sort of being kicked out of this the system. It's like I started school when I was 6 years old, or 5 maybe, and then I've been in school ever since, and I'm 47. So I've been in school for 41 years. And now I'm out of school. So now I'm and it also, this whole experience of not knowing what I'm gonna do in 2 weeks or let alone 2 months is it's really doing something to me, which is good. So I'm also allowing myself to not have a plan and just trusting that the universe or whatever, God or whatever, whoever is in charge, is gonna show me where I'm gonna go. And I sense that, like, right now, that I sort of feel that, and it's also how I experience this whole process with my getting fired. I had this sense of how to navigate it. So so that's my anti-plan is just to wait for the train to hit me in the face.
I feel you, man. I think that's more or less what I've been doing for the last couple of years as well. I'm just kind of trying to surf the waves and doing it more or less skillfully.
Yeah, I think also I think the time that we're going into, it's already happening. If you just know where to look, the systems are breaking down. The systems are breaking down. So we're going to see we're seeing the economic system breaking down. We're seeing the health system breaking down. We're seeing the political, look at Canada, we're seeing the political system breaking down. Pretty soon, the political system in the US is also going to break down. I think it's already broken, but we're just it's going to become visible that it's broken. So we're going to have all these systems breaking down. And in such a time, I think what you need in order to be resilient in such a time, you need to be able to let go of the systems without anxiety. So like when, I don't think you probably don't even have a pension, Owen, because but if you have a pension, you should don't panic when it disappears, but it's because it's going to disappear pretty soon. And also, don't panic when you can't go to the hospital. Then just, okay, then I need to take care of my own health. Don't panic when whatever, the jobs you thought you were going to get, they're not going to be there because, yes. So I think there's something about being, there's like a dialect, there's something about, on the one hand, letting go of things, but at the same time, retaining responsibility of yourself. Taking responsibility of yourself. So letting go of the systems and think, the banks, take my money or let go. But now I will take charge of my own finances and take responsibility and so forth.